Well, thank you, Judy, and thank you for the lovely treatment. It's always fun, like when I see like the Declaration of Principles or go by or any of those things. When something within you goes, I agree with all that. That's right.
Yeah.
That's always a nice thing. So today's talk, I'm just looking here at the clock. Okay, today's talk is entitled "The Responsibilities of Maintenance and Repair," and I think that, many of us emerged from the Judeo-Christian ethic, and that whole idea is that there's an avatar. Somebody will come to save the world. And the truth is, what we really learn is that who we are as an immortal spiritual being, superior to our mind, to our body, and to our experience, and that the only one that really needs to be saved, or the only thing that needs to be saved, is the beauty and the glory of who you really are. Ernest Holmes, the great philosopher from the last century, said the I am is the emblem of eternity. And I love that expression. It goes way back to the Old Testament when Moses was asked, he asked God, by what authority should I tell them that I'm supposed to free the Israelites? And the voice from on high said, tell them I am that I am. And what that turns us into is somebody who reflects on this I am that I am, an immortal spiritual being. Now, I also have this personal side of myself, right? The personal side of myself is what we call the ego. It's how I have defined myself. But what I am is always greater than any definition that I have made of myself. And that's really where we put our attention. If I'm an immortal spiritual being, I love the line also from Dr. Holmes. It says, we were born to have fun living, to constantly commune with the power that is within and around us, and to grow and expand forever. In other words, as we become more and more in tune with who and what we are, we become more aware of this great gift of life that I am. And we begin to share that great gift. This is Casper. He's a big star on Coffee with Casper. So he thinks every time I open the computer, he should be up here and say hello. So thank you for saying hello. So when we begin to say, well, if I'm an immortal spiritual being, and I love that song, Bubbles Up. That was Jimmy's last song that he wrote, having lived a very wonderful and powerful life. But what he knows is from that experience that as a diver, that the bubbles are always going to show you the right way, right? As we lift ourselves up, that's why we've always referred to up, right? The heavens, as we lift ourselves up, we're going the right way. And so if we get stuck in, as the songwriter just said, in any kind of melancholy, it's because we let the door into that. And now we have to return to the place of joy, to have fun living. The joy is one of the great qualities of life, that you're supposed to have fun. Like, how many times have you had a good laugh, when you laugh so hard that you already know that made you feel better, right? Laughter, joy is a quality of God. Tehillah Desjardins said, joy is the infallible sign of the presence of God. So, we in New Thought, we have learned this idea of the principle of love and law, right? That we didn't come to save the world. We came to awaken to our own divinity and support everyone else in the awakening to their own divinity. Because the more you wake up to the I am that I am, to this part of me that is love and joy and wisdom and peace and poise and power and grace and magnificence and belonging, the more I wake up to that, the more I experience in my life. And then the more of that I'm able to vibrate out. I love this idea that we live in a vibrational universe. This is just one set of Tibetan bells. And you hear that sound, that tone goes on. It just keeps going, even though I just clicked them once, right? Well, that's what we are. We're vibrational beings, and we're all of us connected to the law of the circle. That we live in a universe, and the impulsion is love. It gives of itself to itself through itself. so that we might discover itself and discover the glory of what it is to be a human being fully alive. St. Ignatius says, the glory of God is a human being fully alive. So if we were able to all the time rely on our high self, all the time connect in it, that's why we have spiritual practice. We have spiritual practice so that we can remind ourselves every day of this greater truth of who we are. Now, I started doing Coffee with Casper 5.5 years ago, a little more than that now, because I noticed in the scare around the COVID that my wife and I were connected to our children. We've taught them about the idea that they're immortal beings, that there's a white light that can cover and surround them and guide them and keep them safe, and that light is always there, even if we forget for a moment and we have to remember bubbles up. The bubbles are going to show us the way, right? That the higher thought will always show us the right way. So that's why I did Coffee with Casper, was I knew we were having a good life, living in love despite all of the fear that's around. Well, now we're going in waves, right? The race is going in waves. It goes up and down. The pendulum swims this way, the pendulum swims that way. And sometimes when that pendulum is swinging in terms of what the race is doing, we become intimidated or frightened by the news of the day. And I read 2 newspapers deliberately so that I'm aware of the news of the day. And then I ground myself in my spiritual practice, that I am that I am. I am love, I am light, I am truth, I am wisdom, I am peace, I am poise, I am balance, I am harmony, I am wholeness. The pattern of who I am is whole, complete, and perfect. And once in a while, I will fall. And that's like, the story of the ice skaters, right? How many times have you seen an ice skater in the middle of their beautiful routine, do all of a sudden jump and do a triple Lutz or whatever they call those things, and then they fall. And as soon as we see them fall, we go, oh, it's shocking to the system, even as an observer. But what do? We look at the ice skater and we go, okay, get up. And they get up and they finish the routine. So as we're growing in our awareness of who and what we are, we're going to fall down occasionally. We're going to be less than our high self would like us to be. We're going to be less than unconditionally loving, or less than present to the goodness of God or the goodness of Spirit itself in, around, and through us. Sometimes we will fall into that melancholy because we let it in, right? Because there's all of this stuff going on around us. So I wanted to talk about the responsibilities of maintenance and repair, because in the physical world, for example, a car or a boat, or it can only go as, or a computer or a telephone, doesn't matter. It can only go as high as the intelligence that went in to create it, right? So when you're talking about maintaining a car, it's maintaining it so that those specifications that it was designed in can continue to operate for you. And if you don't do those maintenance things, then it will be less than that idea as the best idea that they had so far about that car, about that boat, about that airplane, about whatever the object is that humans designed. It can only go as high as that level of intelligence at the time it was designed happened, right? So the same is true from a human point of view. The designer is the giver of the overall design, G-O-D, right? The giver of the whole thing, that which spins the planets, causes a liver to live, a kidney to kid, a heartbeat to beat, a life force to be a life force. All of that is given to us from a place of design that is much more spectacular than most of us have an awareness of. One of my grandchildren is now a senior in college, and she's doing physiology. She says, physiology is hard. I said, isn't it amazing how complicated and intricate the human body is. And the more you know about it, the more there is to know about it. That's why to get some credentials, it takes 7, 8, or 10 years in order to help people with all of that complicated stuff. But underneath, there's a pattern of wholeness, a design on high. And we can bypass having to know all the things about the design to simply know that it was designed, that this, the Tibetans say, the Tibetan Book of the Dead says, I came from the light, I put on a coat of skins, and I return to the light. Joel Goldsmith, the metaphysician, the New Thought metaphysician, said we are but a parenthesis in eternity, right? We come from the light, we take parentheses called a lifetime, and we return to the light, right? And hopefully in that process, we've learned more about love, we've learned more about kindness, we've learned more about the responsibilities that we have as spiritual beings, and therefore we constantly commune and grow and expand, right? And the universe wants you to know who and what you are, the greatness and the magnificence of the I am that you are, because the I am that I am and the I am that you are is that same I am, expressing itself uniquely as each one of us. So when we have a daily practice, you know, in the old days before we were the Centers for Spiritual Living, we were called the Church of Religious Science. And Ernest Holmes, the philosopher, said there's only two things that make you a good religious scientist. One, daily we meditate. Daily we take time to quiet the mind, to explore this infinite possibility of the I am that I am, to be grateful for this possibility, to be grateful for all of the love and the light and the truth that is already birthed into your life, right? And to constantly play that against the demands of whatever our human experience are. So when I say we're responsible for the maintenance of our spiritual life, we're responsible to be in tune with the infinite if we would like the joy of the infinite to be in us. We're responsible for a practice that causes us to look at the affirmative side of life, knowing that there is a law of vibration, because that's really the thing that separates us as metaphysicians. We as awakening spiritual beings, we know that there is a law of vibration, that the sum total of everything I think, say, and do creates a vibration, which is going into what we call the law of mind or the law of the circle, meaning that which comes from me returns to me as the multiple aspects of my experience, the multiple dimensions and aspects of my experience. So when we look at our lives and the waves are too rough because the surface is too rough, then we must return to the deeper and higher spot within us where that peace dwells, where that love dwells, where that joy dwells, where that appreciation dwells, and focus on those things, love and joy and appreciation and the beauty that is all around us. That's why very often we're reminded to take walks in nature, to be aware of the trees, to go swimming in the lakes or the ponds or the oceans, to be aware of the beauty of nature and the harmony in nature all around us. The Beatles, a long time ago, wrote a song about a lovely English garden. And many years ago, I was touring and doing workshops and support groups and private counseling sessions with people. And I was in England in a full house situation, a full day situation where they got me an office to operate from that was in this beautiful English garden. It happened to be a beautiful weather that time of year. It was summertime in England. And the garden with all of these different kinds of plants and flowers and sunshine taking off them, there weren't any competition. All of that diversity was there in that beautiful English garden in the sun. And no one flower or one plant trying to be greater than any other, but each plant trying to be its own unique expression of the beauty that is already innately within it. And obviously the caregiver of this garden had nurtured it in such a way where you could see how all of that worked harmoniously together. This is also true if you go into a forest, which doesn't have a gardener. And we begin to see all of these things working beautifully together. And that's one way that the Spirit guides us to understand that we belong to a great and beautiful harmony. So we're not responsible. I cannot fix all the challenges of in the world. I certainly don't believe in war. I don't believe in prejudice. I don't believe in discrimination. I believe in inclusion. I believe that love is the guiding power of the universe. I believe in victory and equality and prosperity and a higher order of being. And I recognize that everybody doesn't see it that way. But it's up to me to be the one who sees it that way. That's my responsibility in terms of maintenance. I must guide my awareness and my attitudes and my thinking toward the actuality of a higher order of being and the birthing of that higher order into the entire race. That's not, if we read the newspapers, that's not where we see the attention is, right? So you're not responsible for fixing all of that. You're responsible for the vibration that's coming from you and what you're giving out into the world. And God is responsible for the rebirthing of the world. And when we get enough critical mass, souls who are awakened to the higher order of being, who are awakened to love and harmony as the first law of the universe, Judge Thomas Tower said harmony is the first law of the universe, because if there were something that could rise up and destroy eternality, eternality would not be eternity, right? So God's in charge. The Spirit itself, the intelligence, the giver of all life and beauty, is in charge. What we are supposed to do is be that quality as ourselves in the world. How can I bring whatever you're identifying with as what are the great joys of life? Love and joy and peace and belonging and connection and kindness and laughter and beauty and all of those qualities. We are the ones who choose them. And then we must bring ourselves to vibrate so that that quality is coming from our thought atmosphere, from the actual energy that's happening around us. And we can diminish that energy by opening the door to melancholy and letting it dwell, or we can turn our attention to that which we mean. Good and more good is mine. There's no limit to the good that is mine. Everywhere I go, I see this good. I feel it. It crowds itself against me. And I am responsible for the vibration that's coming from me. So there's a very simple way to frame the prayer. And that was simply, and God or Spirit, help me to do my part. Today is the day the Lord has made. I am rejoiced and glad in it. Help me to be a beneficial presence in the world so that my vibration and therefore my fulfillment is not contingent upon what everybody else is doing, because I'm paying attention to the higher design, not the design of mankind or humankind or the engineering of humankind. No, the design from on high, that I'm an immortal spiritual being forever and ever expanding according to the will of my Father, Mother, God, the source of my life, the I am that I am. Whether we call it source or God or energy or spirit, as I often say, God doesn't really care what you call it. It only cares that you call. And so this is ours to do. Let me take care of my arena. Let me take care of my world. And that's my responsibility, so that I can be offering the highest vibration into the whole field and comfortably live my life and fulfill my purpose. So yes, we can be aware of the challenges in the world, and we can wish the race its awakening. We can wish for the new day, the new dawn, that the greatest amount of the people will one day create the critical mass to reveal this higher order for all people. And yet mine is to be able to see through the mist into the eternal and changeless reality today, to be the place where I can offer my highest vibration, that Spirit and I, because of my practice, because of my commingling, because of my awareness that I belong to the One, can bring the highest vibration into the world today. As the Dalai Lama said, he may be a Buddhist, but his true religion is kindness, right? And I think that he's got something there, that no matter what path we got to our spiritual awareness, mine is to bring as much love, light, and joy and kindness and caring and compassion into the world as I can. And that will cause my life to be fulfilled even in the midst of the chaos in the world. It doesn't mean that I can't participate and do my part in whatever direction I think is right, that I can make a contribution. But the highest contribution you can make and the highest good you can do is do the maintenance so that your vibration is higher and better and more peaceful and more poised and more confident and more alive and more joyous in each and every day. That this is the day to renew my mind, my body, and my experience in the one, as the one, with the one, for the one. And it's that simple. I can comfortably live my life and fulfill my purpose, even as I support the entire race in rising up to a higher level of being. So my friends, it's my honor and privilege to be with you in this day. I'm encouraging you to go to the wellspring, to listen to the bubbles, to follow and rise up, because the joy is always enough. So thank you for sharing your time and energy with me today. My honor to be with you, for it's always a great joy to be with like-minded souls and those who are reaching up to make today a better day and to make the world a better place. Thank you for being you. And until we meet again, I invite you to go in the light, as the light, and with the light. May the long-time sun shine upon you. All love surround you, and the pure light within you guide you on your way.